Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. It's great to have you all here. We have an exciting sessions coming up today. We've got Dan, Sean, and Hardy discussing our latest integration between Elevated Signals and Omni. But before we get started, just a couple of things. First of all, I'm Dana Baranovsky. I'm the marketing lead here at Elevated Signals. I'm just going to be the moderator, just keeping things along, as well as hosting the Q&A at the end. So if you do have questions during the session, please use the Zoom tab at the bottom of Zoom here, as well as the chat to submit your questions. We'll make sure to address those at the end. And there will also be a recording of this session as well, which I will follow up via email, and it will also be on our YouTube channel. So I think that's covers everything in terms of housekeeping. Before we get started, I'd love for you guys to kick it off with an introduction. Dan, I'll pass it to you first.
Well, thanks, Dana. Hi, I'm Dan Leonello. I am the CEO and founder of Omni Technologies, which you will learn more about in the next little while.
All right. I'm Sean Clarkson. I work for Simply Solventless Concentrates, and I'm here as a customer expressing pain points that this Omni is going to solve for us.
Hardeep, off to you.
Okay, sounds good. Yep, I'm Hardeep. I am one of the co-founders of Elevated Signals and Chief Operating Officer. Some of you probably already know me. I'll keep it pretty light, but actually, I don't think you guys did justice in terms of your introduction. So, Dan, maybe you can share a little bit about your background and then yeah, we'll go from there. And then likewise, Sean, yours as well.
Sounds great. Appreciate it. I've been in manufacturing and outsourcing for over 3 decades now, in the electronic manufacturing and other component manufacturing space. And so we actually lived the challenges of using disparate systems, using email and spreadsheets to manage communications between vendors and ourselves and our customers in a multi-tier supply chain. And as a result of the pain, I built Omni. So we'll talk more about that as it goes. Thank you. Sean?
All right. So I've been the inventory manager at Simply Solventless for officially 3 years now. Been working with Elevated Signals for close to 2. I'm not sure exactly what the first date was. I've been integrating and building and designing back-end stuff to connect to the spreadsheets and that, basically shoehorning in what Omni is going to do manually through spreadsheets. So yeah, that's it. I have a background in software development and that sort of thing. So I'm a little more than just an administrator of the problems. Is that enough, Hardeep? Is that enough intro?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, no, that's great. That's great. I just thought everybody should know a little bit more about who you guys are and where you guys come from, and
Thank you.
yeah, it's always very helpful. Okay, so I've got some slides. Maybe I can kick us all off. So let me just share these. Can everybody see my screen here?
Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Okay, so really at the end of the day, what we wanted to talk about was bridging the ops and finance. So I think one of the big things that we're really focused on this year is trying to create some alignment between the operational teams and the finance teams. And, there's one area that I think can really be improved, which is around purchase orders, sales orders. And, we really like to try to find best of breed systems and try to integrate and partner. And this is one of those scenarios where we really wanted to figure out, yeah, what are the options? What does that look like? What would a potential day in the life look like of somebody on the finance team who needs to basically, you know, interface with operations and understand where orders are at, understand where materials are at, understand where receivables are at, paying invoices, all these types of things that kind of happen outside of Elevated Signals. And so this is really about bridging ops and finance as companies scale. So at a very high level, what we're seeing is, you know, a lot of people still using spreadsheets, paper. Uh, there's a cost to disconnected systems, especially when systems don't talk to one another. You'll see a lot of people basically triple entering, quoting, POs, invoicing, shipping, receiving. You do it in QuickBooks, you do it in a spreadsheet, you do it in Elevated Signals. We really want to try to streamline all of this. And what you'll also see is, a lot of lost updates, communication challenges, have we received this inventory? Should we pay this? Net terms, all of these types of things that kind of have slowdowns, right? Uh, if we think about it just from a lean manufacturing perspective, any time wasted is waste, and really at the end of the day, it's all about efficiency. So we want to basically try to improve operational efficiency and really improve the ability for the organization to focus on revenue generating activities. So let me go to the next slide here. The real costs, disorganized processes. So we kind of highlighted this. Most organizations that we see, sub $100 million and even above that in some cases, really at the end of the day are running QuickBooks, Elevated Signals, and spreadsheets, at least in our ecosystem. And so you'll kind of see some common characteristics where vendor and pricing updates are shared by email. So any kind of like contract negotiation, any kind of like a negotiation on price, lots of emails flying back and forth, any kind of quality assurance documents that need to be shared in order to do vendor qualification, all that is, shared by email back and forth. You'll see documents stored in Elevated Signals. You'll see them stored, in SharePoint and in sometimes in QuickBooks and maybe even Google Drive, wherever it is. But you'll see basically you'll see a lot of these documents replicated across multiple systems. And again, that's just really time wasted at the end of the day, and it creates some confusion within the organization. You'll see POs, invoices, and receipts managed separately, even though they're managed through QuickBooks. A lot of the actual documents in terms of the invoices are still managed outside of QuickBooks. They're stored in Google Drive. They're stored, in SharePoint, external sources. Maybe there's some sort of finance tool that captures receipts, those types of things. And at the end of the day, it just creates a lot of misalignment within the organization. So for us, the philosophy is really around a few different pillars. One of the pillars is really around clarity. So trying to provide one source of truth for finance and operations. And we really value simplicity. The more we can simplify how you use Elevated Signals, how Elevated Signals fits into workflows, I think the net positive for the organization is it allows them to move faster. And what we want to really try to do on the other aspect is really provide integration. So this is integration into, not just like how software interacts with one another, but it's integration of different business units. That's what it really is at the end of the day. So we have a shared mindset. We've known Dan for maybe almost 2 years now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, we've been chatting through this over the last 2 years, trying to figure out, what this kind of world can look like. And I think we're starting to approach on that solution. We've talked about problem space for a while, and we've building out a solution. And yeah, there's a shared mindset. There's definitely a shared philosophy in terms of being customer centric and trying to build tools that are frictionless. And so if I was to kind of just share my side of it in terms of some key takeaways, it's really disconnected systems, costly delays. Integration means clarity and speed for the organization. And we want to be able to try to move finance and operations in sync. So that's it for me, but really wanted to kind of set some context for the rest of the conversation, and I will pass it off now.
All right.
Sounds
So
good,
I guess
Harvey.
it's my turn.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
take it away, Sean.
Okay. So my what I'm going to be doing here is just kind of walking through a little bit of our experience with elevated signals before Omni and what problems as an inventory manager I've had in dealing with shipping and receiving. So elevated signals, it's a great software package for manufacturing, tracking, reporting, you know, handling all the SOPs, keeping all the forms in there, keeping QA happy on the internal process. But there is a missing piece in the interaction between clients, suppliers, and the company, especially around purchase. For in my world, especially around purchasing, receiving, shipping, and sales connect to costs and expenses in QuickBooks and that sort of thing. And so Omni is going to fill those gaps. Next slide. So this is challenges that I faced when dealing with purchase orders. First of all, the appearance and customization of purchase orders inside elevated signals. This is an example of what a PO looks like as just a downloaded PDF. And it really didn't fit all the purposes that it seemed to be needed for, or was not, didn't seem to be. So we would, companies, I believe, are building custom models on spreadsheets for PO tracking and that sort of stuff that look more similar to this particular style and that sort of thing. And adding in costs directly into elevated signals has a few problems. Oh, I didn't fix that. New features. The new feature of costing in elevated signals is new, so nobody's SOPs currently line up with what elevated signals was planning on adding for costs. Without Omni, elevated signals would not directly connect to QuickBooks or other accounting software. Depending on the personnel who's seeing the data, you may not want to disclose information about costs or discounting to the person who's actually performing the purchase ordering part of it, because that's often handled within the plant, not within the accounting department directly. So there needs to be a connect. They need to be able to issue a purchase without necessarily knowing all of the dollar values tied to that purchase. Even with stored costs within elevated signals, order details like discounts to apply to a specific line item is challenging to track. So if you're discounting something because of a volume sale, or if you're discounting something because you want to do some kind of other partnered relationship, cost changes do not happen easily within elevated signals even with the costing module that they were adding. And many products that we sell, I'm sorry about this, the display of this. Many products that you track, if you're in the industry, OCS and AGLC and all the different provincial boards all have a different price point to them because of the excise rates change province to province, but it's the exact same product. The only difference is the stamp you're throwing on the container and where it's shipping to. So that is a really challenging thing to keep track of. And when you're purchasing a product, you have a problem with, if you get material from CX exchange or directly from a supplier, the cost of the exact same thing might be different as well. So that tracks through to your cost of goods sold, and you have to, it's really challenging to track all of those things without an integrated system. So other problems we face are in the delivery side of things. Again, we have a shipping order from Elevated Signals that really doesn't fit the bill for packing slips and all the other components that you have to work with. You have to deal with your chains of custody. You have to have QA approval of shipment checklists, what went on the truck, that kind of thing. hazardous goods material tracking, and stickering and properly doing the paperwork on the packing slips for that. Packing slip design. If you've ever worked with OCS, you know that they have very specific needs in what they're expecting when a packing slip hits the door, with the placards and the labeling, and every pallet gets its own sheet, and the sheet has to match exactly what's on the pallet, and all that sort of thing. As well, some of the distributors and shipping companies are a little weak on their bill of lading game. I mean, they're supposed to supply it, but sometimes you have to supply that yourself. So we, again, like other companies, have probably developed in-house systems to do packing slips. On your left, the middle would be your shipment checklist of QA, and then a chain of custody. So there's like 3 different documents in just this example that you have to produce for every shipment out. Then you get into the accounting stuff, the reconciliation connection, which is what Hardeep was mostly talking about, in how the systems don't talk to each other. So, you got a manual entry from scanned documents emailed to accounting. There's a fairly frequent way to deal with things. And this is a point where a lot of translation errors and transpositional errors will happen, where what's on the piece of paper doesn't get typed into QuickBooks right. And so you have to go through a whole reconciliation phase where someone has to go and look at all the shipping documents and look at all of the accounting invoices and say, did we charge the right amount for everything that we shipped out? And were we charged the right amount when things came in? Tracking of last minute changes of a shipment is challenging, especially when the last minute change is a cost or a volume amount that has to go. You drop a case of something on a partial order for a PO that you can partially fulfill, and so you have to decrease the number of cases going, or you want to increase because you made a few extra and you want to get the most out of your sale as you can. So you put a few extra cases on that you didn't think you were going to be able to do. Those kinds of things are really challenging if things have gotten ahead and from one department to another, and keeping them synced together is a real issue. Also, the shipping date versus the delivery date invoice generation. When Elevated Signal says it's gone, it's kind of out of the system, but you may not want to issue your invoices until it's gone through the trucking company all the way to the end of the chain and hit their warehouse, and they've approved and received it. And that's when you actually send your invoices out. So there's a disconnect on that side as well. And one of my bigger headaches is product naming conventions. Accountants and inventory people look at the world a little differently. And so the naming conventions in your QuickBooks or your other accounting software may not line up with the naming conventions that have been chosen inside of Elevated Signals. And so when you get to the reconciliation phase, it's a lot of, I know this product that's called, Summer Cherry Vapes is actually a different label inside the inventory system because of how those kind of structures work. So that, and then the final one, and I kind of talked a little bit about this, is partial shipments. When you have a PO from like AGLC or something who's allowing you to give them half, some of the PO at a time over the course of a couple of weeks, tracking that to the invoice level so that the invoices happen, and connecting multiple shipments to one invoice is often really manual labor and prone to error. There's a lot of places where the system can break down in those points. And so that's been some of the key pay points I've had in the last little while. And I'm really hoping to see how Omni solves all these problems for us. And that's my slideshow piece.
Thanks very
On
much,
to you,
Sean. Appreciate it.
Dan.
Yeah, thank you. Excuse me.
Oh, I guess I got it correct. I guess ES will connect directly to QuickBooks right now. It's not just through Omni. Sorry.
There are different pieces that connect depending on what the actions are. I know that, oops. Well, somehow.
Oh, there we go. Oh, you had it.
Yeah, it went. I apologize, everybody. There we go. So you've got all this already. Omni plus elevated signals. Essentially, what we're doing is we're linking inventory, operations, and finance so that everything is in one place. And essentially, we're only ever doing anything once. I talked already about my experience, 30 years manufacturing and outsourcing. Every manufacturer hits the same wall that I did, that the systems don't talk to each other. Um, Excuse me for one sec. There we go. Orders and shipments and invoices get lost. And we had to create SOPs, as Sean just described, to keep multi-tier supply chains running through email and spreadsheets. And so we built Omni to manage our own operations first, and then turn it into a platform for others. What's broken, you guys have talked about a lot already. So I'll leave that alone in both operations and finance. So essentially what we're doing is we're taking it from triple entry for every single state change to a clean workflow that people can use to execute and manage their orders, but at the same time, translate that information directly to QuickBooks or inventory, elevated signals, based on the actions that are taking place. So beforehand, it's disconnected. Orders and shipments and invoices are rebuilt in every system. The teams rely on email. And in the end, finance chases data across many departments at month end to try to match everything. Excuse me, with Omni, each transaction is created once and it's shared automatically. So you've got real-time updates that keep operations and finance aligned, and finance closes on time with more accurate and trusted data. So what you'll see is that we manage the transactions from RFQ and quote, orders and purchase orders and sales orders through fulfillment, both shipping and receiving, and tie that into invoicing so that everything has an audited trail of who did what, when, and why, attached to every single step in the transaction flow. So on the buy side, to suppliers, you've got RFQs and quotes, purchase orders that are created and approved, receipt updates and inventory, invoicing posted directly to QuickBooks, and if you've got deposits, it'll reflect that payments have been made so that you know you can ship, for example. Sell side, quotes accepted or emailed, POs parsed. One of the things I know in your industry is a lot of the bigger clients are sending emails, POs by email. What Omni does is it has automatic order entry, so it will be able to read the purchase order, match it to the quote for that specific client and product and quantity. If everything matches, it will create a sales order and draft, and if it doesn't, it will send it back to client services so that they can get the information approved and updated. So what you gain is no more triple entry, real-time visibility, and fewer handoffs and faster fulfillment on the operational side. For finance, accurate inventory, COGS, and revenue posting, on-time month end, and confidence that the numbers are there and you're not chasing data all the time. So essentially what happens is the data moves because work happens, not because someone re-enters the data in another system. I'm going to stop talking there and pass it on to Augusto, who will demonstrate a couple of different processes within Omni that will help to show how that process flow works. Go ahead, Augusto.
So, hello everyone. My name is Augusto Mendes. I work here on Omni as full stack software engineer, and I will present about our system and how does it works. So as Dan said, we are able to manage the entire flow since the beginning, when you can set up your partners, you can set up your products, and after setting up the products that you buy, the products that you sell, you can create purchase and sale orders. So start from the beginning. The first thing is to have the partners set it up on our system, and you can also take them from QuickBooks, for example, and from Elevated Signals. Once you are connected with your QuickBooks and your Elevated Signals, you can import your data and bring back the partners that you are working with. Products, the same thing. You have the products for sale and the products for purchase. You can always, on your onboarding, import the products from your QuickBooks, from Elevated Signals, and also import your products from CSV files. So products can have default prices, for example. When you import products, you can bring your default prices for this product, and also you can create quotes or ask for quotes. So let's suppose that we are working with a new product. Let me give here. So Mota Company, and we have some products from Mota Company that I can buy from. For example, this one, buy from Mota Company. So as you can see, I have a quote for this guy, so I do not have to create a new request for quote, but products can have default pricings. That is basically the price from catalog, and maybe you can ask for a different price. You can ask for a quote, for example. So if you have a product that you are asking for a quote, you can come here and on request for quote menu, you can go on actions and create a request for quote. Here you'll set up the vendors that you want to request for quote, the dates, that's the deadline from this request for quote, and the dates, and you will provide the informations about the product. So the vendor will receive it on their email, or if they have already joined in on our platform, they will receive on their interface so they can answer you back. So this is an example of an RFQ. So I said that it was a urgent delivery. So I have all the product informations here, and here I have the quote that was sent to me. So I can view the quote with all the informations, and I can use this quote for creating a new purchase orders. So just explaining again, you can ask for quotes for users that is using Omni, but you can also ask for quotes for users that is not using Omni. So they will receive your request for quote on their email, and once they will answer you back, you can fill the information here, and you can start using, or so you can start buying this product for the price that you have on the quote. So for example, we for one piece we have 12 USD dollars. So, and for 100 pieces, you have $11. So if I click here, create purchase order, so it will fill out the informations related to the company. It will fill out informations related to the item that I'm buying, and it will also populate the pricing. So the text will be auto-populating related to the terms that you set it up on your partner too, but you can always change the taxes. You can also change the quantities and change the prices if needed. So everything is changeable. The only thing that matters is if the other part of the transaction we will accept it too. So here you can attach your documentations, any file that you need to be attached, add some notes, and here you are starting your draft order. So here, this is the moment that you can set up your product, your shipments, and on the next page, you can review all the informations related to your purchase orders. Once you have created a purchase orders, let me take one purchase order that I have already created for this company. You can enter deposit invoice, for example, if you have set it up this kind of terms on the moment that you have set it up your partner. So clicking here, enter deposit invoice, the system will also automatically calculate about the pricing of the purchase order, and it will automatically give you the discounts or the due date and everything related. Just with one click, you will create the deposit invoice and you'll be able to send it. So here you can enter your invoice. So I have created a deposit invoice, and now I have to finish the payment. So it was an 100% upfront. So I have my second invoice will have the discount of the entire amount. So I can create the invoice, and then I will be able to start receiving. So on the moment that I have created a purchase order and sent the invoices, I will expect to my vendor to confirm me when they have entered the shipment. So I can set up the informations related to the shipments here, clicking enter shipment. So you can set up the shipment when the shipment was sent. You can set the tracking number and the backslip files and any other files that you would like to set up. So confirming, so after setting up the delivery, you can confirm the delivery. You can confirm that you have received the quantities. So you can set up the date that you have received it, and you can do an inspection saying that if these products are good, or if you face some any problem with any product. So if you face problems with your delivery, so maybe do not receive it the entire quantity needed, you can create an NCR, non-conformance report, or you can even skip the inspection and saying that it's everything good. Once you have clicked that confirm, you will close the purchase order, and the purchase order will become closed, completed, and everything will be on the both sides, on the QuickBooks sides and the Elevated Signal side. So as you can see, I have created some purchase orders and completed them before the meeting. So you can see that I have this purchase order created and completed, and you can see that I have it on the Elevated Signal side. So I have here the pieces. So yeah, 119 pieces. So I have them on Elevated Signals, and I have the invoices on QuickBooks, and I have uh, so I have the bills on QuickBooks, and I have the purchase order on QuickBooks too. So everything is automatically set it up. So every time that you are doing any transaction on Omni side, you'll be able to see it reflecting on your QuickBooks and on your Elevated Signals if it's all set. So and also we have another arm of our application that we are creating some automations for some parts of the flow. For example, every time that you are receiving by your email, for example, an invoice and you need to fill the information on our system, maybe you are receiving a quote and you need to fill the information about the quote on our system. So we are creating an automation using AI to avoid you to need to fill up these informations. You just need to confirm. So let me give you an example. So let me go to my email box. Let me pick one of my accounts here. So if I have received a purchase order by email, I can just forward this purchase order. As you can see, I have a purchase order here. I forwarded this purchase order to ai@omni.com. So what happened is the AI will understand that it's a purchase order that you receive, and it will identify your account, and it will auto-populate your sale order on your account. So this sale order will be pending approval, so you need to approve it. So it will be on draft. So as you can see, the purchase order that I have received here with this amount, it's already set it up on my system as pending with the same amount. So if you come here, you will be able to see the pieces already filled, the right item, the right customer. So the PO document already attached. So you can move forward and put the informations relate your shipment and the class. You can add new descriptions. And if you move forward, you'll be able to see that you have all the informations here. You just need to confirm. So, and also if the AI could not identify maybe the product or maybe the customer on your purchase order, it will reply you back saying that we could not identify the entire information. So you will be able to understand why the AI could not identify and maybe come to the system and fix these informations. So, and maybe I forgot to say, but every step of our purchase and sale order management is maybe you can face some situations that you need, for example, to extend, for example, the dates. Maybe you're not going to be able to send you're cutting your sale order and you will not be able to send in time this product. You can also edit the shipment details, edit the quantity and the pricing, and also ask the permission for the other side. So if you have some trouble through delivery and you will need 2 days or more, you can come here and you can ask a change request, or you can even change the dates and send them by email for your customer or vendor, and they will approve it or not. So all these steps regarding even from the beginning of setting up a partner, a product, setting up the pricing, asking for quotes, creating quotes, selling and purchasing, it's all covered by our platform. So if do we have any question on any additions?
I was just going to say, Augusto, what happens when there is a change order? It automatically adjusts inside of QuickBooks and
Yeah.
Elevated Signals. Yes?
Yeah, so what we are doing here is every time that you ask for changes or you change something, once it's approved, it will automatically update QuickBooks, and if needed, Elevated Signals too, and also will create some logs. Let me take a purchase order here that maybe I had changed something. Let me take a one. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. Let me. So if I go here and let me take one here, and I can change something. So uh, maybe this company does not have the permission to change it, but when you change something on your sale order here, so I will widget the shipments, for example. Let's suppose that I cannot send the entire amount here. I will send just two, and on the other shipment, I will send the rest of them. So let me continue. I'm on my local environment, so I'm still working on some details relating to some message. But what the system is doing right now, it's going to QuickBooks to understand if we can, what is going on QuickBooks side, and it will do all the changes on QuickBooks and Elevated Signals since I'm disconnected. When I'm connected, also I have the both sides connected to the platform. I would need to ask a change request, and once the other side approves, we will do the changes on both sides on QuickBooks and on Elevated Signals if connected, and we will register who have done it and when.
And where's the log? We want to be able to show them the audit trail.
I just need to find a company that I have
Okay,
permissions to do it.
no problem.
But yeah,
You
this
can
is
see it
here.
right there.
Yeah, we have the log information. So Augusto Mendes has changed the purchase order shipments. This is the dates. So the old shipment date, the old shipment quantities, the new shipment date, the new shipment quantities. So you have all the history about your purchase order here. And you will also have the documents of the older purchase orders here too.
Great. Well, we should probably open it for questions now because we're getting
Yes.
close to time.
Yeah, we have a couple of questions from Aiden, and if anyone else has questions, this is the last call. But the first one from Aiden Radcliffe is, when changing information with purchase orders, is it possible to adjust the pricing and total inventory sold if there is an NCR and or return associated to that order?
Yes, the answer to both of those questions are yes. We have the ability to, when you adjust quantity, it will adjust Elevated Signals. When you adjust a date, it will adjust, or a price or a quantity, those will all be adjusted automatically in QuickBooks.
Yeah, and we are always letting the decide of which action you want to take to the user. So you as a user, you can change, for example, the quantities on the purchase order, and it will affect the pricing. So maybe you can generate credits for this purchase order if this is already paid. So you can also maybe create a return purchase order if some of the items could not what was not good. So you can choose between the decision of the system. What
Yeah,
are
so
you going to do next?
when you're receiving, let's say you order 100 but only receive 90, you can create a non-conformance and say that there were 10 missing. And similarly, if there is an inspection and 10 go wrong and aren't approved, then you're now down to 80. So the number in inventory will be 80. And we would also then create a credit note inside of QuickBooks for the 20 pieces, along with the reason the credits exist for the 10 short and the 10 bad ones. So all of the things that you experience in real life become reflected inside of QuickBooks and Elevated Signals in real time. The minute that you actually receive it and make that note in the system, it will update both QuickBooks and Elevated Signals automatically.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Another question that came in just before, like when people were signing up, and it was, how are the system hierarchies managed? So which platform would become the source of truth for things like SKU creation, supplier info, as well as cost data, I guess, across those three platforms?
Let's do
Yeah.
one at a time. So the SKU information can be either the source of truth can be QuickBooks pulled into Omni as Elevated Signals is being set up. Because you've got Elevated Signals already existing with all of your naming conventions there, we can use that as the source of truth, and then push the information up into QuickBooks or link the two, because oftentimes the name that's being used on the buying and selling inside of QuickBooks is different than the SKU numbers, etc. So we match them both. It's up to your governance to determine which you want to be right on the product side, product naming convention side. From a pricing standpoint and a transaction standpoint, Omni is the source of truth, because all of the pricing and all of the state changes in the transactions are managed inside of Omni.
Okay, great. And then another question that came in, when setting up Omni, say you're an Elevated Signals user as well as a QuickBooks user, do you have to set up new data into Omni, or is it going to be already synced from the other
No,
source?
it'll be, so the first thing you do is integrate and sync. So we would integrate with QuickBooks, pull all the product information, sync, excuse me, integrate with Elevated Signals, and then do the same thing and link. If there's any differences, we would link them together during setup. Pricing, you won't have, we were able to pull the last price and the pricing history from QuickBooks, so it sets up the beginnings of the quoting. But you would be then having to, if we've got pricing, like price lists, we can bring that in through CSV, and then you can literally set up discounts for individual clients or products or quantities, depending on what it is you want to drive.
Okay, awesome. I don't see any more questions.
The other thing we can do is open it up if there's anybody who wants to have a quick discussion. I'm not sure what our time is, but look at that,
Yeah.
we're right on time.
Yeah, we're right on time. If anyone else has any questions, feel free to email marketing@elevatedsignals.com, or if it's directly for Dan, you can email dan@omni.com as well. But thank you everybody for the session. Thank you, Dan, Sean, Hardeep, Augusto, for joining the session and really diving deep into the problems that this integration solves. Just to let everyone know, I will be sending a recording of this session as well if you wanted to watch it again, or if you want to share it with your team.
Did we answer Adrian's second question, or Adian's second question? When the orders are imported into the ES system, does it automatically pull inventory into the shipping purchase order?
Oh, yes, it does.
Okay.
So it automatically pulls it out of Elevated Signals, you mean? Is that what that word means? So if we've sold it, it takes it out of the allocation.
Yeah, I believe that's what the question would be about.
Yeah. Yeah. So what happens is when you create a purchase order, it notifies Elevated Signals that the order has been created and the amount that's expected. And then when the shipper and receiver, when the receiver receives it, it then gets pushed into inventory as available goods. Or it can go to testing first for QC to approve it. And once they approve it, then it will update and become live inventory that can be sold. So the gates are built depending on what the scenario is for the product. Similarly, when you have a sale, You can look at multiple warehouses and you can pull from multiple warehouses in order to complete a quantity if there's a partial quantity in different places, etc. And when it gets pulled, it automatically updates in the inventory numbers at the time that the sale is made.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Dana, I'll let you wrap it up.
Yeah, I guess Dan, where can
Yes.
I reach you?
Well, dan@omni.com is probably the easiest. If you have any questions, Hardeep and I know each other pretty well. You can reach out to him if you need to, please. Yeah, come to me directly and we can dive deeper. We can do a deeper demo, answer more questions that are direct to your individual needs.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, and
Thanks, everyone.
days.
Thank you, Dane.
Okay.
I really appreciate you herding us cats.
Take care.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys. Bye.